Everyone, meet the family failure. My sister Victoria's voice cut through the birthday party like a knife through cake. 50 relatives turned to stare at me standing by the appetizer table. My hand froze halfway to the cheese platter. Victoria stood in the center of the living room, wine glass raised, wearing that smile she always wore when she wanted an audience. Laughter rippled through the room. Aunt Patricia covered her mouth. Uncle Frank shook his head. My mother looked away. I forced my face into a neutral expression, the same blank mask I'd worn at family gatherings for the past 8 years. But then I noticed something odd. A man standing near Victoria, tall, mid-40s, expensive suit, wasn't laughing. He was smiling. Not at Victoria's joke. At me. His eyes met mine with recognition that made my pulse spike. He gave the smallest nod, like we shared a secret no one else in the room could understand. My sister didn't notice. She was too busy soaking up attention from cousins who found cruelty entertaining. The man's smile widened slightly, because he knew something Victoria didn't. "Come on, Emma, don't be sensitive," Victoria said, draining her wine. "I'm just being honest." She turned to the man beside her. "This is my boss, Mr. Donovan. He flew in from Chicago just for Dad's party. Mr. Donovan, this is my little sister Emma, the one I told you about." The way she said, "the one I told you about," made my stomach twist. Mr. Donovan extended his hand. "Miss Harrison, it's good to finally meet you in person." His handshake was firm, professional. In person, those two words hung in the air between us. Victoria blinked, confused. "Wait, you two know each other?" "Not exactly," I said carefully. Mr. Donovan's smile never wavered. "We've corresponded through email, business matters." Victoria laughed, too sharp, too quick. "Business? Emma doesn't do business. She works from home doing, what is it again? Data entry?" Several relatives chuckled. I said nothing. Mr. Donovan tilted his head. "Actually, Miss Harrison handles quite complex operations, impressive operations really." Victoria's smile froze. I excused myself and walked toward the bathroom, needing air. My hands shook as I gripped the sink. 8 years. 8 years of being the punchline at every family event, the disappointment, the one who never lived up to her potential. All because I chose a different path than Victoria. She went to law school, married a surgeon, bought a house in the suburbs, and worked her way up to senior marketing director at Ashford Digital Solutions, the fastest-growing tech marketing firm in the Midwest. Me? I dropped out of college, married young, got divorced at 25, and started working from my apartment. My family saw failure. They didn't see the late nights, the learning, the building. They definitely didn't see the paperwork I signed 3 years ago. When I returned to the party, Mr. Donovan was still watching me. Not with pity, with respect. Growing up, I was always Victoria's little sister. She was 3 years older, straight-A student, captain of the debate team, homecoming queen. I was quiet, average grades, more interested in computers than popularity. Our parents never hid their favoritism. "Victoria's going places," Dad would say. "Emma's finding herself," Mom would add with a sigh. By the time I was 16, I'd stopped trying to compete. Victoria thrived on being the golden child, and I learned that silence was easier than constantly defending myself. When I dropped out of college to work full-time and help my then-husband start his business, my family was mortified. "You're throwing your life away," my mother said. "You'll regret this," my father warned. Victoria just shook her head sadly, like I'd confirmed everything she always knew about me. The divorce 2 years later seemed to prove them all right. What they didn't know was that the divorce was the best thing that ever happened to me. Dinner was served on the back patio. Victoria made sure to seat Mr. Donovan at the head of the table, right next to our father. She sat on his other side, laughing loudly at everything he said. I sat at the far end, between Aunt Patricia and my cousin Kyle. "So Emma," Aunt Patricia said with forced brightness, "are you still doing that computer thing?" "Yes," I replied. "That's nice. Keeps you busy, I'm sure." The dismissal in her voice was clear. She didn't actually care what I did. She was just filling silence. I pushed food around my plate and watched Victoria perform. She dominated the conversation, talking about her latest campaign, her team's accomplishments, the awards Ashford Digital had won under her leadership. "We're actually about to announce a major expansion," she said, touching Mr. Donovan's arm. 3 new offices opening next quarter. It's been incredible being part of such a fast-growing company." Mr. Donovan nodded politely. The company has grown significantly. The leadership has been very strategic. His eyes flicked to me for half a second. After dinner, people scattered, some to the living room, others to the yard. I stood on the back porch, grateful for the cool evening air. Mr. Donovan appeared beside me. Your family doesn't know, he said quietly. It wasn't a question. No, I replied. Why not? I watched Victoria through the window, holding court with our cousins. Because telling them would have meant listening to why it wouldn't work. Why I'd fail. Why I should get a real job instead. And now? Now it doesn't matter what they think. He was quiet for a moment. For what it's worth, you've built something remarkable. The board is extremely impressed with your work. Thank you. Your sister mentioned you often during her interview process, he continued. Always as an example of what not to do with your life. My chest tightened. I thought you should know that, he added. Before what's about to happen. I turned to face him. What's about to happen? His expression was carefully neutral. The restructuring announcement goes public Monday morning. Your sister will find out the same time everyone else does. And you came here tonight, knowing that I'd meet you? Yes. 5 years ago, I started freelancing. Web design, digital marketing, social media management, anything I could do from home while rebuilding my life after the divorce. I was good at it, better than I expected. Within a year, I had steady clients. Within 2 years, I was turning down projects because I couldn't keep up. That's when I hired my first employee. Then my second. Then my third. My apartment became too small, so I rented a small office space. Then a bigger one. I named the company Horizon Strategies. Simple, professional, forgettable. I never advertised myself as the owner. My name appeared on legal documents, but publicly I was just part of the team. I liked it that way. While Victoria climbed her corporate ladder with press releases and LinkedIn updates, I built my company quietly. No announcements, no family updates, no chances for anyone to tell me I was doing it wrong. My ex-husband used to say I was too quiet. You need to promote yourself, Emma. He'd insist. No one's going to hand you success. But self-promotion felt hollow after watching him do it for years, talking about businesses he was about to start and deals that were almost closed. He was always almost successful. Always talking about tomorrow. I learned from that. I stopped talking about tomorrow and started building it instead. When the divorce was finalized, I got the car and half our savings, about $8,000. He got everything else and told everyone I'd given up on our future. I took that $8,000 and invested it in my first real client contract. I worked 16-hour days for 6 months straight, lived on ramen and coffee. Slowly, the money came. Then the reputation. Then the growth. By the time Victoria started at Ashford Digital, I'd been running Horizon Strategies for 3 years. Emma, my father's voice boomed across the patio. Come say goodbye to Mr. Donovan. I walked back inside. The family had gathered near the front door. Victoria stood close to Mr. Donovan, clearly not wanting him to leave. Thank you for coming, my father said, shaking his hand. It's an honor having someone of your position join us. The pleasure was mine, Mr. Donovan replied. He looked at me. Miss Harrison, I'll be in touch early next week. We have details to finalize. Victoria's head snapped toward me. Details? Business correspondence, I said simply. What business? She pressed, laughing nervously. Mr. Donovan's expression was perfectly professional. I'm sure Emma will explain when she's ready. Have a good evening, everyone. He left. Victoria grabbed my arm. What was he talking about? What details? Nothing important, I said, pulling free. But my mother had heard everything. Emma, what's going on? I'll tell you Monday, I replied. Victoria's eyes narrowed. Tell us now. Monday, I repeated. That night, Victoria called me 6 times. I didn't answer. She left voicemails ranging from confused to angry to concerned. Emma, if this is about me calling you a failure, I was joking. Everyone knew that. You're being ridiculous. Call me back. I deleted them all. The truth was simple. I wasn't angry about the failure comment. I'd heard worse over the years. What bothered me was how much she enjoyed it. How she'd made it part of her identity. The successful sister with the disappointing sibling. She'd built her self-image partially on my supposed failure. And I'd let her. Because it was easier than fighting. Easier than explaining. Easier than exposing my work to her judgment before it was strong enough to withstand it. But Monday was going to change everything. Monday, the business world would learn that Ashford Digital Solutions, Victoria's beloved company, was being acquired by Horizon Strategies. My company. The one she didn't know existed. Sunday afternoon, I met with my lawyer and accountant. Everything's finalized, Marcus, my lawyer, confirmed. The contracts are signed. Press release goes out at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Ashford's employees will be notified first, added Brenda, my accountant. HR is sending the email at 8:45. I nodded, feeling the weight of it. This acquisition had been 18 months in the making. Quiet negotiations, careful due diligence, strategic planning. Ashford Digital was a good company with solid clients, but their leadership had made bad financial decisions. They needed capital and direction. I could provide both. The board had been desperate enough to accept my terms, which included keeping the acquisition quiet until everything was finalized. Only a handful of people knew Horizon Strategies was purchasing them. Victoria wasn't one of them. How are you feeling? Marcus asked. Nervous, I admitted. Your sister works there, right? Senior marketing director. He winced. That's going to be awkward. Yes, I said, it is. Monday morning I woke up at 5 a.m., couldn't sleep anymore. I made coffee and sat by my window, watching the city wake up. At 8, my phone buzzed. Mr. Donovan. Morning, staff meeting scheduled for 10 a.m. You ready? As ready as I'll be, I typed back. At 8:45, Ashford employees received the email. At 8:47, my phone exploded. Victoria called. I didn't answer. She called again. Text messages flooded in. What the hell, Emma? Call me right now. Is this a joke? How is this possible? Did you know about this? I turned my phone to silent and got dressed. Professional navy suit. Simple jewelry, hair pulled back. I looked at myself in the mirror. This version of me, confident, composed, successful, wasn't someone my family knew. They were about to meet her. The Ashford Digital offices were downtown, 14th floor of a glass building. I'd been here once before during negotiations, late at night when the office was empty. Now it was alive with people. I stepped off the elevator and the receptionist looked up. Can I help you? Emma Harrison. I'm here for the staff meeting. Her eyes widened. Oh, Miss Harrison. Yes, of course. Conference room B. Mr. Donovan is expecting you. She pointed down the hall. I walked past cubicles and offices. People were clustered in small groups, whispering. Some looked scared. Others looked angry. I recognized Victoria's office. Door closed, blinds drawn. Mr. Donovan met me outside conference room B. Ready? He asked. We walked in together. The room held about 40 people, department heads, senior staff, team leaders. Victoria sat near the back, arms crossed, face pale. Our eyes met. Hers were filled with confusion and something else. Betrayal. Mr. Donovan called the meeting to order. Thank you all for coming. I know this morning's announcement was unexpected. I want to introduce you to Emma Harrison, founder and CEO of Horizon Strategies. Every head turned toward me. I stood. Good morning. My voice was steady, professional. Horizon Strategies has acquired Ashford Digital as of today. I want to be clear, this isn't a dismantling. Your jobs are secure. Your projects continue. We're investing in this company because we see its potential. Someone raised their hand. What changes are you making? We'll discuss restructuring over the next few weeks. Some departments will merge with Horizon teams, some roles will expand, but no one is being let go due to the acquisition. Relief rippled through the room. Victoria's hand shot up. How long have you been planning this? The room went silent. 18 months, I replied calmly. And you didn't tell anyone? We maintained confidentiality during negotiations, standard practice. Her jaw clenched. That's not what I meant. Mr. Donovan stepped in. Let's keep questions focused on business operations. But the damage was done. Everyone now knew we were related. After the meeting, people approached me with questions. I answered each one professionally, patiently. Victoria stayed in her seat, staring at the table. When the room finally cleared, she stood. We need to talk. Okay. Privately. I followed her to her office. She closed the door and spun around. When were you going to tell me? I'm telling you now. This is insane, Emma. You own a company? You bought my company. How is that even possible? I built Horizon Strategies over 5 years. We're a multi-million-dollar firm now. Ashford needed capital and direction. It was a good acquisition, she laughed, sharp and bitter. Multi-million-dollar firm. You, the family failure. I never said I was a failure, I replied quietly. You did. She flinched. You've called me that for 8 years, Victoria. At every holiday, every birthday, every family gathering, you made it your favorite joke. I was just teasing. No, you meant it. Victoria sank into her desk chair. Why didn't you tell us? Tell Mom and Dad? Tell me? Because you would have found a way to make it about yourself, I said. Or you would have told me all the ways it wouldn't work, all the reasons I'd fail. That's not fair, isn't it? When I dropped out of college, what did you say? She was quiet. When I got divorced, what did you say? I was trying to protect you. No, you were proving you were better than me, and I let you because I didn't need your approval anymore. She looked at me like I was a stranger. So this is what? Revenge? No, I said simply. This is business. You're good at your job, Victoria. You can keep it, but you'll be reporting to someone else now. Who? Rebecca Chen. She's taking over marketing as vice president. You'll be her senior director. Victoria's face went red. You're demoting me? I'm restructuring. Rebecca has more experience. You'll learn from her. This is because of Saturday night. Saturday night reminded me why I kept this private, but the restructuring was always part of the plan. Word spread fast. By noon, our family group chat was exploding. My mother, Emma, called me immediately. My father, is it true you bought Victoria's company? Aunt Patricia, I always knew you were smart. Cousin Kyle, that's actually really cool. Victoria posted nothing. I silenced the chat and focused on work. There were contracts to review, team meetings to schedule, integration plans to finalize. I'd fought too hard to build this company to let family drama derail it now. At 3 p.m., my mother called. I answered. Hi, Mom. Emma Caroline Harrison, you bought a company and didn't tell us? I run a company. Buying Ashford was just one acquisition. How long has this been going on? 5 years. Silence. 5 years, she repeated. You've had a company for 5 years and never mentioned it. I told you I was doing freelance work. Freelance work is not the same as running a multi-million-dollar business. I didn't want opinions. I wanted to build something that could survive on its own. That evening, my father called. I don't understand why you hid this from us, he said, his voice tight. I didn't hide it, I just didn't announce it. That's hiding, Emma. No, Dad. Hiding would have been lying about what I do. I told you I worked in digital marketing. I do. I just didn't specify that I own the company. Your sister is devastated. Victoria's upset because her narrative about me doesn't work anymore. He was quiet. For 8 years, I continued, I've been the punchline, the disappointment, the one who couldn't get her life together. Victoria built her identity partly on being better than me. That's not true. Dad, on Saturday she called me the family failure in front of 50 people. She does this constantly, and you've never once told her to stop. The line went silent for a long moment. You're right, he finally said. I should have said something. Yes, you should have. Are you going to fire Victoria? No, she's good at her job, but she's going to learn that job titles don't make you better than other people. Tuesday morning, Victoria arrived at my office. Rebecca wants me to report to her by Wednesday, she said stiffly. She's already changing my projects. That's her role, I replied. You knew this would humiliate me. I looked at her. Did you think about humiliating me when you called me a failure? Or is humiliation only bad when it happens to you? She had no answer. You can stay at Ashford or not, I continued. That's your choice. But if you stay, you work like everyone else. No special treatment because we're related. I never asked for special treatment. You've had it your whole life, Victoria, from our parents, from teachers, from everyone who compared us and decided you were worth more attention. Her eyes filled with tears. I didn't know you felt that way. Because you never asked. She left without another word. The restructuring went smoothly. Rebecca merged teams, streamlined processes, and cut redundancies. Victoria's projects were reassigned to people better suited for them. She showed up, did her work, and went home. We didn't speak. At the following Sunday dinner, the family dynamic had shifted. People asked about my company, my work, my plans. Victoria sat quietly, eating without contributing. Mom tried to draw her into conversation. Victoria, how's work going? Fine, she said. Emma, tell us about the acquisition process, Aunt Patricia urged. It sounds fascinating. I kept my answer brief, professional. But Victoria stood abruptly. Excuse me, she left the table. Mom followed her. Dad looked at me. She's having a hard time adjusting. I know, I said. Go easy on her. I met his eyes. I am Dad. I could have fired her, I didn't. Weeks passed. The integration completed successfully. Ashford's clients stayed. Revenue increased. Employee morale improved. Victoria adapted slowly. She stopped making comments about my past, stopped treating family gatherings like her personal stage. One evening, she knocked on my office door. Can I talk to you? Come in. She sat across from me, looking smaller somehow. Tired. I'm sorry, she said, for Saturday. For all the times before that, I was cruel, and I'm sorry. I waited. I think I was jealous, she continued. You always seemed unbothered by what people thought. You did what you wanted. I spent my whole life performing for approval. I noticed. I used you to make myself feel better, and that was wrong. I studied her face. She meant it. Thank you for saying that, I replied. It doesn't erase 8 years, but it's a start. She nodded. Are we okay? Eventually. Maybe. 3 months after the acquisition, Ashford Digital was thriving. We'd opened 2 new offices, landed 3 major clients, and increased profits by 30%. Victoria had become one of Rebecca's best team members, focused, creative, reliable. She stopped treating work like a competition and started treating it like collaboration. At Thanksgiving dinner, the family gathered again. This time, no one made jokes about failures. Victoria sat beside me voluntarily. The Vancouver office opens next month, she said. Rebecca asked if I wanted to lead the team there. That's a big opportunity. I'm thinking about it. It'd be a fresh start. You'd be good at it. She smiled, genuine, not performative. Thanks. Later, as people were leaving, Dad pulled me aside. I'm proud of you, Emma. I should have said that years ago. Thanks, Dad. And I'm sorry for not seeing what you were building, for not defending you. I hugged him. We're okay. By December, life had found a new rhythm. Horizon Strategies was expanding faster than I'd planned. Victoria moved to Vancouver to run the new office. We texted occasionally, updates about work, funny client stories, nothing deep. But it wasn't hostile anymore. At Christmas, she gave me a gift, a framed photo of us as kids, back when things were simple. I found this in Mom's attic, she said. We were friends once. We were, I agreed. Maybe we can be again, someday. Maybe. She hugged me, awkward, uncertain, but real. When she pulled back, I saw something in her face I hadn't seen in years. Respect. Not because I owned her company, but because she finally understood that I'd built something real while she'd been busy telling everyone I couldn't. New Year's Eve, I stood on my apartment balcony watching the city lights. My phone buzzed. Text from Victoria. Happy New Year, Emma. Thank you for not giving up on me. I smiled and typed back, Happy New Year. Proud of what you're building in Vancouver. 5 years ago, I was divorced, broke, and dismissed by everyone who was supposed to believe in me. Now I ran a multi-million-dollar company, employed over 100 people, and had rebuilt relationships I thought were broken forever. It hadn't been easy. There were nights I almost quit, moments I doubted everything. But I learned something important. The people who dismiss you will rewrite history the moment you succeed. They'll claim they always believed in you. They'll forget their cruelty. And you have to decide whether to remind them or just keep building. I chose to keep building. Not because I forgave easily, but because revenge was never the point. The point was proving, to myself, not to them, that I was more than their low expectations. Victoria called me a failure at a party, and her boss smiled. Not because he pitied me, but because he knew something she'd spent years refusing to see. I was never failing. I was just working quietly. And when you build something real in silence, the reveal is always louder than any insult could ever be. I don't need my family to rewrite my story now. I already wrote it myself. And it's a story about a woman who learned that the most powerful response to being underestimated isn't anger. It's success they never saw coming. Sometimes the best revenge is living so well they can never minimize you again.